Welcome to Rabbit Room Apologetics. These episodes explore biblical theology from a Hebraic and Second Temple period perspective. For the full written article with all references and footnotes, please see the link in the show notes. Genesis 33, an exegetical and biblical-theological commentary. Genesis chapter 33 stands as a pivotal hinge point within the patriarchal narrative cycle. It follows immediately after Jacob's life-altering encounter with the pre-incarnate Messiah at Peniel. 20 years earlier, Jacob had fractured his family through deception. He stole the firstborn birthright and blessing from his brother Esau, forcing him to flee roughly 500 miles to Harran. Now, called by God to return to the Promised Land, Jacob must confront both his past and his brother. Within the promised plan of God, this narrative arc represents the progressive movement from human manipulation and deception toward divine transformation and covenantal restoration. It highlights how the sovereign creator protects the chosen seed line while sovereignly managing human relationships to advance his greater story, the ultimate reclamation of the cosmos and the establishment of sacred space. Let's turn to the exegesis of Genesis chapter 33, beginning with the strategic alignment and meeting of the brothers in verses 1 through 7. Upon seeing Esau approaching with 400 men, Jacob divides his family into distinct camps based on a calculated hierarchy of affection. He places the handmaids and their children first, Leah and her children next, and his beloved Rachel and Joseph last. This protective arrangement shows that even after his definitive divine encounter at Peniel, Jacob still struggles with residual doubt and uncertainty regarding the immediate materialization of divine protection. Then comes a striking narrative reversal. Jacob passes ahead of his family and prostrates himself to the ground 7 times as he approaches his brother. According to the earlier oracle in Genesis chapter 27, the elder brother was destined to serve the younger. Yet here the younger brother bows as a servant before the elder. This subverts raw human entitlement in favor of pursuing peace. Instead of executing vengeance, Esau runs to meet Jacob. He embraces him, falls upon his neck, and kisses him as they weep together. While some ancient Jewish traditions viewed Esau with suspicion, the literal, historical, grammatical context of the text shows that Esau's heart had been sovereignly changed by God. 20 years of bitter enmity are completely swept away through forgiving love. Next, in verses 8 through 17, we see the restitution of the blessing and a deceptive detour. When Esau questions the massive droves of livestock sent ahead, Jacob insists that his brother accept them. He declares that seeing your face is like seeing the face of God. This deliberate connection links his reconciliation with Esau to his supernatural encounter with God at Peniel. In the ancient Hebraic way of thinking, experiencing his brother's unreserved favor and forgiveness after he had wronged him so deeply served as a tangible reflection of the divine grace he had received. Jacob's gift functions as restitution for the stolen blessing. While he cannot undo history or restore the specific words spoken by Isaac, he uses the immense material wealth God provided to compensate his brother. However, after the reconciliation, Esau offers to escort Jacob south to Seir. Jacob, still retaining some of his scheming nature, pretends that he will follow slowly because of the children and tender livestock. But he has no intention of going to Seir. From their meeting point, Seir lay about 100 miles south, while Succoth was only about 4 miles west. Jacob gives his brother the slip. This reminds us that character transformation is an organic, progressive reality rather than an instantaneous erasure of deep-seated habits. After staying briefly at Succoth, Jacob crosses the Jordan and safely reaches the city of Shechem. There he buys a plot of land from the sons of Hamor. He builds an altar to anchor his family's return to the Promised Land. Jacob names the altar El-Elohe-Israel, which means God, the God of Israel. This act signals a deep theological development. The God of Abraham and Isaac is now personally claimed by Jacob under his newly conferred covenant name, Israel. Moving now to the New Testament appropriations of this passage, the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 9, verses 10 through 13, uses the story of Jacob and Esau before they were born to illustrate God's sovereign election within the promise plan. God's choices are rooted entirely in His own purpose and grace, not in human merit or natural birth order. The love and hate language operates as ancient Near Eastern covenant terminology, where love means entering into a special covenant relationship and hate means setting aside for a particular historical vocation. Jesus in Matthew chapter 5, verses 23 and 24, commands that we reconcile with a brother before offering our gift at the altar. This perfectly mirrors the trajectory of Genesis chapter 33. Acceptable worship at the altar Jacob built was connected to first making peace and offering restitution to Esau. The author of Hebrews in chapter 12, verses 15 through 17, holds up Esau as a sobering warning against profaneness. Esau disregarded his birthright, and later, when he wanted to inherit the blessing, he found no opportunity for repentance or change of mind. The patriarchal decree was irrevocable within God's unfolding plan. Finally, the theological synthesis. Genesis chapter 33 demonstrates the sophisticated interplay of divine sovereignty and human agency in the historical outworking of the promise plan. The multifaceted cracks introduced by human sin and deception cannot stay the hand of the Creator or abort His covenant commitments. In the native Hebraic worldview, historical and physical realities are never divorced from their cosmic assignments. The physical preservation of Jacob and his family was completely necessary to safeguard the biological line through which the ultimate seed of the woman would come to crush the head of the serpent. Furthermore, this passage challenges rigid supersessionism by showcasing a non-zero-sum reality in patriarchal history. Though Jacob is uniquely elected to carry the covenant seed line forward, Esau is not utterly destroyed or abandoned by the Creator. He is blessed with his own historical inheritance and pastoral abundance. The ultimate goal of the Promise Plan is not a flight from physical history, but the concrete, progressive restoration of sacred space and relationship, advancing systematically until all the fractured families of the earth are reclaimed under the unique rule of the Messiah. Thank you for listening. If this teaching has been valuable, I encourage you to read the full article on Substack. The complete text, along with all supporting references and footnotes, is available through the link in the show notes.